Hey everybody, welcome back to Analogue, a Hate Story. True to many other parts of my life, I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into, so I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to show. I might show everything, I don't know, but it's going to be a whole lot of reading and me reading things that I don't even know, Anyway, dearest mother, if you haven't already heard the good news, my husband has been appointed by the Emperor to the position of magistrate. He's taken over the office for Magistrate Park starting today, which is just tremendous for a man his age. I have no doubt that he was perfectly humble when he got the news, since he currently has been while talking about it in front of his father-in-law. Wow, words, I'm great at them now. In private though, it's another story. Earlier, the family held a small feast to celebrate the news, and he had that same attitude then too. But afterwards, when everyone else had left or gone to bed, we stayed up to sit together drinking wine, and it was a whole lot more somber. He wasn't modest, but he wasn't boastful either. He was just outright insecure. He might not say it in front of you, but you know what? He said to me as I poured him more wine. He takes all the credit for my promotion. According to him, it's all because of the Emperor's perfect new bride, which is, of course, all because of him. I said quietly, I don't want to take credit for her. I wasn't the one who got her to shut up. That was all him. I'm only discussing it, and please, Mother, don't ever ask me why. Strange. Doesn't matter, he said. That's not why I got promoted. I got promoted because now High Magistrate, Park and I managed to make Smith look so bad he had to get shuffled off. It's exposing the whoring and thuggery that did it, not the damn pale bride, he said with annoyance. Well, that's how he is. You know he'll never give you credit for anything, I said. He replied, I know. I just wish he'd acknowledge it. I just don't know how he can be so stupid as to not be proud of me, I know, I said. But let's not focus on that right now. I think we should focus on the good right now. How about we toast to your success instead? Here's to a new Magistrate Kim. I raised my glass and drank. He betrayed the faintest of smiles, but he didn't share my toast, and instead put down his glass. For a moment, I was worried. Then he used that hand to grab my chin instead, and for the first time ever, kissed me on the mouth. Far sweeter than any wine, he said to me. I wasn't sure if he meant the kiss or the success, but I agreed either way. Too long! Let's see what she has to say about this. What's up, your name? So here's the background, I suppose. There were two major noble families on the Mugunqua. The Kims were the big one, as I'm sure you can see. The Smiths were the other major family, but I'm afraid I can't really tell you very much about them. They were the most important family on the ship until just before the end. The High Magistrate was a Smith until the very last year, even. I can give you a little bit about them for reference, so you can see who the Kimmen thought their big enemy was. The Smiths didn't really matter very much at the end, so I don't know very much about them. I certainly never met any of them, so I'm just going off what I read. Here, this should give you an idea of what I mean. Alright. This song is funky. Anyway. Despite having hardly shown their faces in the entire time I have lived in the Smith house, the second branch of the family is taking it upon themselves to visit again, a week after we were forced to endure their smug eye-rolling at the funeral. Of course, it would be impolite to turn them all away at the door, no matter how poor taste the timing was. Sort of the choice that we have but to let them in. Husband wanted to have nothing to do with them, being distracted by Zhangmi, and mother-in-law had been hiding in her room, leaving it to me to entertain them. Of course, as soon as I had sent their son to go see our daughter, cousin-in-law Kyung-sam made it quite clear that it was not that sort of visit. His wife just sat there, silent, while he ripped into me. Well, that's polite. I couldn't write down all his words. There was simply one line of abuse after another. Apparently, we were to be blamed for Sonq leaving before they showed up, for wearing the wrong mourning garb, for my husband's shocked reaction at his brother's death. In fact, we were to be blamed for his death itself. All he kept shouting was how embarrassing for the family it was that a noble man of the Smith house had been allowed to drink himself to death. As if the real tragedy was that it looked bad. I might not have felt bad about Songjun dying, but the rest of the family did. To hear such words making light of their loss was appalling. Yet he kept going, shouting awful thing after awful thing, until finally the most unexpected thing happened. Mother-in-law entered the room. "What is going on here?" she asked. He stood up. "I was just passing on a message to his son's wife about his disgraceful conduct, since he won't show his face himself." Then he added, "I'm so embarrassed to be a Smith right now. Do you think people don't know about her family's shame? Do you have any idea how much of a fool I look?" I never saw a more terrifying expression on someone's face. She just glared at him. Finally, she said, "Yes, but you clearly do not, or you would have lowered your voice." It took him a moment for that to register. Then he was just shocked. But mother-in-law wasn't done. "Please leave," she said. "Now." They stared at each other for a good while. Mother-in-law naturally won, and with a scowl, Kyung-sam and his family departed. When they left, I turned to her. "Thank you," I said, but she just shook her head in disgust and exited to her own room without another word. Drama, yo. I've given up on any attempts at convincing the main ranch family to get their act together, as clearly speaking reason that any of that pack of idiots is a fool's errand. Now I can only hope that their self-destruction is quick, such as that when my son's turn to pick up the visa of Smith name's reputation, he would be able to do it as soon as possible. He seems far, far less worried about it than I am. Of course, he is only a child, but that boy is mature for his years, and perhaps there is wisdom in his calmness. All I have to do is be better than them, right? He asked me while I was in a rage about handling of the funeral. Isn't that what gentlemen do? Lead by example? He is right, of course. As a noble family, we're supposed to be an example to the middle classes, and the commoners, and the slaves. Perhaps so too must we serve as an example to the family of the High Magistrate and his brother. Perhaps things will not be so doomed for my son after all. It will be hard for him, of course, if the main branch family continues on this path of decay. But if any boy will grow up to be able to put things right, I believe it is him. Here comes the fall. At least nobody's going to say I didn't see this coming. News that Songmin has gotten sacked just came in, which is definitely the death of any respectability in this family. Temporary leave, it's been described as, but it's obviously a political move on the part of the Emperor. And I think I've got a pretty good idea of what he's playing at too. He's hoping that making a move against Songmin will push him over the edge, make him do something indefensibly stupid, and use that as an excuse to shuffle off from good. It's a good plan. It'll work. Meanwhile, the Kim family seems to be up on the rise, getting ready to fill the gaps left by our collapse. Now it's up to my son. If he's not able to rebuild after all of this, then the whole family is doomed to a permanent decline. Everything rides on him. Daggyo. This is more or less random. Well, as you'll see soon enough, it all seems to come back to the pale bride. I want her birthday! I don't think Kim Jong-soo ever thought very much of his adopted son, or at least neither he nor his wife thought so. You know what I think? Yeah, sure. I think they're both really dumb. I mean, it's not like she ever did anything. It's not her fault. She just happened to be there, and was married as a political gesture. What kind of person projects their insecurities onto someone who only ever just got pushed around? Sorry, I guess I'm getting a little bit off track here. It's not really very helpful, is it? Maybe it is. Well, anyway, getting back on track here. Plaza sounds like a really interesting place, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't really know personally, but as I understand it, it was the big place for celebrating festivals, and really surprising to see. You leave one of the few tiny modern Starcourt corridors that lead to it, and suddenly there is this huge open space, filled with all sorts of colorful signs and windows. I think proper gentlemen were supposed to be more modest, though, so they wouldn't really want to associate with that sort of thing too openly. To be totally honest with you, I don't really know what she's talking about here, at all. The math thing wasn't really considered very odd at the time. That's women's work. It's just natural. Maybe it's a little weird that she's helping with external matters, but, well, it's not that weird. The part about learning to read isn't amazing either. It might have been officially frowned upon, but learning to read by looking over a brother or husband's shoulder is really, really common. She's making a big deal out of nothing. Well, I guess that's 15. 15?! Oh, wait, I already did this one. Huh? I suppose you did find them interesting? Well, I don't think there's really anything else you would find relevant. I'll decide what's relevant. I think when I read these from now on, I'll just show them to her. But I don't know if that's the best way to go about it, because, you know, she took away block 6. So what if she ends up taking something else away, too? That's dangerous. I don't trust her. She's definitely got some motives here. Of course, the last person to hold the titles Captain and Emperor on the ship was Ryu Inho. Which of Captain Ryu's wives do you wish to know more about? Yes. Very well. She wrote a lot, so this is going to be tricky to filter. I guess I'll just start at the top, and I'll let you figure out what's important. Thank you. Jiahua. Very well. I'm not very much on her that I think you would find relevant, though. Let's see. Here, how about this? Alright. Confidence. When my husband asked what I thought of the idea of him taking a new wife, I presented him with the weakest of smiles, but said that I thought it was a good idea if he thought so. That I would be happy if a younger woman were to relieve me of the pressure of bringing him a son. I have no doubt that this is the answer he wanted me to give, with a convincing enough expression to go along with it. There is one thing I am confident in, it's my ability to read exactly what my husband wants to hear. Having heard that the girl he is considering is only 13 years of age, however, it is certain that I can have no confidence in any other thing. He'll take her in a few years, right when she's reached marriage age. She will be at the peak of her beauty, and won't have matured too much. Doubtlessly, unlike me, she will have no problem delivering the son he needs. Perhaps jealousy is unbecoming of me, but it is pragmatic too. When we were young, his affections for me were so strong, but now that we are both old, how could I possibly compete with the young bride? That is so messed up. And the thing is, like, if you just put a 1 in front of this, that's, you know, what it really was like back in the day. It's weird given the sci-fi setting. How fascinating. Right, block 5. A month of good fortune. The second month of the 319th year was one of great fortune for the Kim family. While on official business, the captain and Emperor Ryo confided in me that he wished that I had a daughter of marriage age to give to him, to take a second wife. Fuck. His first wife had been unable to provide a son, and was becoming increasingly concerned that she never would. Yo, that is entirely up to the male. At the start of the month, I had no daughter in my family to give. My only son, Youngsuk, was still without child, yet it was a perfect opportunity. This may sound fantastical, but I swear it is true. Passed on through generations of the main branch of the Kim family is a giant egg of translucent luster, such that one can see the form of a sleeping child inside. She is known as the Pale Bride for the inscription on the egg, and she was entrusted in our family to be awakened during a time of great prosperity. Yet as any man knows, prosperity is seized, not waited on. A daughter to provide the emperor with a son would elevate the family above the noble house once and for all. considering this, I promised the Emperor that I did have a daughter who would soon be of marriage age to present to him. Then I smashed the egg, such that the pale bride passed through the Kim family for years could be adopted as my own daughter. She's a strange child, but will make a fine wife for the Emperor. What good fortune this means. Whoa! I have got to know more about this. I'm afraid nearly everything the man wrote was of very little value. It all reads like that. Boring, stiff, obnoxiously patriarchal. Are you sure you really want more from King Jong-soo? No! I want... Yes? If you insist. Very well. I've added the other relevant entries from him. I'll caution you from taking him seriously, though. And yeah, it seems like all of these narrators are somewhat unreliable. I want to know more about the egg! Wait. 229. Is that just like 6 days afterwards? Dear Diary, last week I woke up from cryostasis. Before I went in, Father promised me that when I woke up in the future, they'd have medicine again, that I'd finally get better, that I might not see him again, but his descendants would make everything right. But the future broke his promise. I'm scared and confused, and I don't get what happened. I think there was a big disaster while I was in stasis or something. Everyone's so uneducated and stupid. Father and Mother were kind of dumb at times, but the guy who woke me up, he might be named Kim, but he's nothing like them. Father was wrong. Nothing's better. The future sucks. Oh. It's starting to make sense. The Pale Bride did keep an extensive diary. I'll try to find you some more entries. Thank you. Dearest Mother, do you recall on my last letter I mentioned the Pale Bride being brought into the household? I take back any kind words I might have said about her. That awful child is nothing but the most insufferable person I have ever met. I just thought I would have a little bit more time of peace. With Young-suk's adopted mother visiting her own family, I have been giving full responsibility over that miserable child. What happened to my promised domestic bliss? She's in trouble so often, one would think she were a boy. Wait. And that's some years afterwards. She acts like one too. I suppose it can't be helped. She says she lived her first 12 years in the past, and I can see it. She certainly acts as though she's from a less civilized time. Just last night, she made a huge scene at dinner time. She kept trying to rudely leave the table in front of Young-suk and father-in-law, loudly insisting that she was too sick to eat. She has said this before too. I was worried, so I had a doctor examine her. She is, of course, in perfect health. When I asked why she thought otherwise, she started talking about how pale and thin she was. She's not truly unhealthy. All she was doing was rubbing in that she is far more delicate and beautiful than I. What a cruel little child. Why must she be so spiteful to me? Dang. Perspective is everything, huh? Oh, wait, I didn't suffer this. Suffer? I didn't read this. Oh, Do you want more from Kim Young-suk's wife? Or do you want the reply from her mother? Sorry, I'm afraid I don't have anything. I can explain why if you want. Yes. You have to understand something. It's traditional for a woman's letters to be deleted after being read, so the disk space can be reallocated. That's sexist. Women weren't really supposed to read or write. Certainly the nobles did. It's just the idea was that spending time on education got in the way of the important virtues for a woman, which was serving her husband. So in practice, even if a woman was illiterate, she could at least excuse it by destroying her words afterwards. It's less pretentious if at least the writing wasn't permanent. Does all that sound reasonable to you? That's stupid. Yes it is. But that's how it is. But regardless, Kim Young-suk's wife was definitely considered a very virtuous woman, so I have none of the letters that she received. So I'm sorry, I can't give you anything there. It's valiant effort, Yone. Very well. I can give you a couple from his wife. Here you are. Thank you, dear. That was very polite. Alright. Dear Diary, today I was forced to stay in the home all day. I didn't get to leave yesterday, or the day before that, or the day before that, or the day before that, or any other day either. I want to write about how much the ship has changed since I was put into stasis, but I can't even see it. I keep asking why I'm being kept prisoner. Nobody will tell me. That woman who keeps bossing me around, she's awful. I'm dying here, I keep telling her. I'm sick. That's why I was in stasis to begin with, but she won't listen. She just treats me like I'm a stupid kid. I tried to argue with her. Look at how pale I am. Can't you see that I'm sick? I swear, I'm not making up what she said in response. Why must you be so rude? It's not polite for a girl to boast about her beauty. Beauty? I try not to cry in front of her. I've had to do that a lot. I'm not beautiful. I have a compromised immune system. I shouted at her and ran away. I don't remember what she said back. Something about using big words, I think. How stupid is she? She hates me. I don't know why, but she hates me. That's not why I'm not allowed to go visit the ship plaza, though. Jung-soo, the man who keeps telling me to call him father, said the same thing. He promised me that I would have a chance to leave soon, though. I don't think he was being nice, though. I'll write about him more later. Right now I have to go to bed, or the woman will get mad at me again. I'll just let you keep reading. Please, let me know when you've read all the ones I just gave you. Alright. Well, actually, I noticed I've been recording for a little over 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop this right here. Where does it save? Save. 19%. Moving on up, y'all. Anyway, I'll catch you on the flip. See you next time. Bye.